Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Excuse me, I'm in a goofy mood, but also tired and cranky and groggy and grumpy. So I don't know how this is going to work. I have a meeting at 9 a.m. with Cody Aish and Pete Neely from the Seminary Ridge Museum and Education Center about a very exciting top secret event that we are exploring. We're exploring planning it. In other words, we're talking more about the idea to see if we really want to or can do this idea. It is ambitious. Yes, it is. It is perhaps the thing that will put an end to all of us. Not in a nuclear bomb kind of way, but more in a you bit off more than you can chew kind of way. But I don't know. We will see. We will have to discuss and figure out. So that's what I'm doing this morning, and we're going to have a meeting at Bantam Roasters, which is great because I got to go there anyway to get my morning coffee. Although I might get morning iced tea. I don't know. It could go either way. You never know. So we are heading down Middle Street, and we're going to go down the whatchamacallit there, Confederate Avenue. Since I don't have a ton of time, just going to do your standard loop. Morning, everybody. Good morning, Garrix. Good morning, Barbara. Good morning, Russell. Good morning, Marie. Good morning, Oh, you in town already, Tom? If you don't have plans, you can come by and do the for the what am I? Ugh. Let's start again. If you don't have any plans tonight, Tom, come and see the new studio when we do AG today. Be there by 5. Good morning, Ron. Ron from Chicago, wishing he was here in Gettysburg. I don't blame you. For 100,000,000 reasons, I don't blame you. Morning, Peter. I'm going to drive slowly since we have a half hour, but I don't think it would take me a half hour to do this loop. If I drove at the speed limit, I think I would get there much quicker. So I'm going to go a little slow. I'm going to be that guy today. I'm going to be the guy I'm usually yelling at today. It is a nice day here today, I'll tell you that much. So, let's see. Tonight we have AG Today. I guess I'm going to have to figure out what we're going to talk about before then. I don't know. I don't think we have a guest. Next week, we have the owners of Saverhood coming on with a special announcement, a special presentation, apparently. I don't know what it is, but you've heard us talking about Saverhood. Now it's time to experience the mind of the owners. Because I'll tell you, they're sharp people, very successful people from Colorado, and they have come out here and they have success again, it seems. And then there's me. And then there's Maude. Right, guys? Right, guys? Maude. It's an old show that I don't remember because it wasn't in reruns when I was a kid. Never heard of it. Marie says that wood-fired pizza is delicious. It is delicious. Everything there is delicious. Unfortunately, if you were a fan of the grilled cheese stand, they did not last. I feel bad for them. It was good. I had it. But for me, you know, being a lard ass, grilled cheese, you know, no matter how much you add to it, I'm still gonna want to get something else, right? Because I'm a glutton. The majestic field of Piquet's Charge for you to look upon, excuse me. To our left, which you can't see, is the Virginia Memorial. Perhaps it will briefly come into view as I make this left turn, but something makes me doubt it. Yes, and my doubt was correct. But yeah. So the only reason I know And Then There's Maude is because Family Guy did one of their cutaways once, and I got the joke without having to ever have seen Maude. It was like, I don't remember exactly how it went, but it was like Cleopatra, points Mark Antony, you know, whatever, the whole thing. And then Peter keeps going, and then there's Maude. And then they don't go, and they keep on going through all these people, and he goes, and then there's Maude. And then he keeps getting all, worked up, and then there's Maude, and then there's Maude. But yeah, because I don't know if I told you, I've been binge watching the Golden Girls, and was Rue McClanahan on Maude? I feel like two of them worked together on some other show before, isn't that right? Kevin says, "Be our body." Tell you what, she was with an 8-year gap in between. I have lived here 10 years as of this past June, and I have always wanted to go to the Bluegrass Festival, and I always miss it because I can't keep track of all the things that are going on ahead of time. Also, I've been a bachelor. Bachelors are notoriously bad at planning things because we just kind of, we work and we play. We don't really care, about that stuff. So that's about to change for me, but So maybe now I'll be able to catch things because I have somebody who actually thinks of that stuff. I don't think of that stuff. If somebody says to me, hey, I got a ticket to the Bluegrass Festival this weekend, you want to go? I'll be like, yeah, if I can, which I can't. If it's up to me to like look ahead to see what the calendar of events is in the area, forget it. I can't do it. I can't be bothered. So yeah, I have another friend who's coming down to go to the tour in the morning and then head over to the Bluegrass Festival. Looks fun. I'll make it one of these days. Rue McClanahan was on Maude. Okay. So they had already worked together. I'll tell you, the writing on that show was so witty. The comeback, Rose would say something stupid, and the comebacks that Dorothy would have. Dorothy always had the best comebacks. But it was so that show. And you know what? It was like good, clean fun, because even when they would make a political joke, it wasn't nasty, and it was just fun. That was the way they all were. Oh God, I'm getting into remember whens. Remember when comedy used to be funny? Remember when, even when you were making a political point in comedy, it was still funny. And then there's Maude. The Golden Girls. My grandmother and I used to watch that. Same here, Ziggy. Can't remember each names, but I like the older, smarter one of the Golden Girls and still stands in real life. I love older women. All right. Yeah, Sophia was the mother. She was the old broad. She's hilarious too. Well, Dorothy and her, I think, are the funniest. Although Rose says funny stuff. They're all funny. They all have their moments, but I think Dorothy and Sophia, the mother and daughter, crack me up most. The way they interact with Rose, or any of them. Because Sophia, she insults everybody. Very funny show. Very funny. Mama's Family was great too. Family, let's see. Mama's Family, The Golden Girls. Nest wasn't bad. That was a spin-off of The Girls later on. Christy McNichol, cute. What was the other one? I used to watch them all. Different Strokes, Facts. Mr. Belvedere. And then, of course, the TGIF lineup. Full House. Family Matters. Perfect Strangers. That other one. The Hogan Family. And it's funny, because I'm a big Jason Bateman fan today. But he annoyed the hell out of me on the Hogan Family. I don't know why. I know the character was kind of a pompous ass, but I just didn't like him, Jason Bateman. But now I think he's one of the funniest freaking people on the planet. Young Adrienne Barbeau, that wasn't good, clean fun in my 12-year-old brain. Yeah. That's still good, clean fun. Well, I'd offer it to Matt. It can be our morning drive by fans represent. What? Try to reword that, please, Kevin. Sanford and Son definitely molded my sarcasticness. Yes, that was another one. Sanford and Son. What the hell was it called? What's Happening? I loved that show. That's a Quincy Jones song, and I feel like Sanford and Son was also, but don't quote me on that one. That might have been Henry Mancini. What? No, wait. Henry Mancini was. Oh shit. I think Quincy Jones was Sanford and Son. Henry Mancini was What's Happening. I think that's my final answer. Can somebody Google that? The theme songs for What's Happening and whatever the hell else I said. Sanford and Son. The Hogan family, don't you mean Valerie? Ah, yes, very good, Ty. It was first Valerie, but then she proved to be a biatch and wanted more money. And they said, all right, somebody grab Sandy Duncan. Where's she been? Bring her in, and Valerie's going to die. And she died. I have a friend, woman, worked in Hollywood for 30 years, tried to get acting gigs, and would not do. She auditions for a very popular sitcom in the 90s. I mean, I'm talking like one of the biggest sitcoms of all time, which the wokies find problematic now. And she passed the audition. And then the director invited her into his office and said, essentially, so what are we going to do about this here? And then she's like, I'm not doing that. And he's like, well, if you want this job, the whole back and forth, right? So anyway, she's like, at the end, she doesn't do it. She's not going to do it. And she's like, well, do I have the part? He's like, oh, you got the part. And, okay. She never hears from them again. Finds out she doesn't have the part. But that's not the worst of it. I think there might have been a little play on words. She might have said, am I in the show? I think that's actually what it was. Am I in the show or am I in the episode or something like that? And he said, oh, you're going to be in the episode. And so, I don't know, months later, the show airs. She's watching it with her friends. And there's a part where Monica and Rachel are talking. And one of them says to the other one, do you remember that girl from high school, so-and-so? And then you go, oh, you mean the slut that slept with everybody? And the so-and-so, they actually used her name. And that is how evil these people are out there. That, you won't do something naughty with the director to get the job. And he said, oh, you make it in the episode. And he makes it in the episode by smearing you for something you would have been had you done what he asked. So you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. And if you people think that those stories that are coming out of Hollywood are not real, you're wrong. They're very real. Punky Brewster, yeah, I remember that one, but I don't think we've really watched that one a lot. Punky. Oh, you're referring to, okay. See, so that throws me off when you guys are having your own conversations in there. Keep doing it. When I'm driving, I glance. I can't go scrolling back and, so I see a comment there and I just assume it's directed to me because who else could it possibly, who else would you be interested in this conversation and talking to? Come on, people. No, but yeah. So good. It's good to have conversations amongst yourselves. Taxi, yeah. Taxi, so as a little kid, okay, I haven't watched it since then as an adult. I have to revisit it. But I remember it just depressed me. First of all, the opening. I think it's a cool song now, but at the time, as a little boy, it was a depressing song with the imagery of shitty, grimy 1970s New York. What a dump. What a dump. I'm sorry. And you're going back that way now too. Why don't you take control of yourselves, New York? Um, that was gross. That was depressing. And then the filthy grime of the cab station was also gross and depressing. And so I didn't like it as a little kid. I also didn't like MASH. Everybody was like, "Oh, I love MASH." I can't. I think it's pretentious and douchey. I don't find it funny at all. What was the other thing? What was the other one? Yeah, so Taxi. Depressing. Three's Company was great. Three's Company was great because, you had the Ropers first. And then, they left and Mr. Furley came on. And usually, I don't, it's like kind of when they brought Cousin Oliver in on the Brady Bunch, it just kind of was over. But that wasn't the case. Mr. Furley was so good, you forget the Ropers and you actually kind of only think of Mr. Furley. But Three's Company was a great show. Three's a Crowd, the spinoff, was a little disappointing. But you can't win them all, ladies and gentlemen. You can't win them all. And then, oh God, I'm trying to think of all the sitcoms that were on back then that I watched. Tom aptly points out that when you rant, you fall behind in chat. Yeah. Well, when I rant, I'm expecting you all to be hanging on my every word and not chatting. But of course, I find that you don't find me that interesting. So you're still chatting away amongst yourselves about that have nothing to do with about here. That's wonderful. That is wonderful because why? You are engaged with each other and you are making a record of engagement on my video, which helps with the algorithm. So I thank you for not paying attention to me. I thank you very much. Tool time! Hilarious. Loved that show. Loved that show. My dad, after my parents split up, my dad would come to dinner. My mom worked late on Wednesdays, so my dad would come over and we'd have dinner and we'd sit and watch sitcoms. And it was like back-to-back Home Improvement and The Simpsons. So we'd sit and eat dinner and watch those shows with my dad. So those shows always remind me of that awkward time where the man who used to live with you is now visiting and just having dinner with you until your mom gets home, which didn't need, we were teenagers. It was, about spending time with us. It's not that we needed guardianship at that point. And that wasn't the awkward part, is, wanting to spend the time. It's just, when you're a kid, and I'm sure everybody in this room has experienced divorce one way or the other. But when you're, at least from my perspective as a kid, I was very lucky. My parents made us their priority, and everything they did was for us. And they wanted to make sure that we were able to be innocent as kids and have a good, fun, clean, innocent childhood, which I wish every parent would do for their kids. We'd have so many fewer blue-haired 20-year-olds nowadays. And and by the way, if you related to that comment because your kid has blue hair and you got insulted, I'm not really sorry, because we all have to deal with those people. So, you should feel a little shame. Anyway, so, what was I saying? Oh, yeah, so, we were a family unit, and then the divorce came, and it was weird. It made me, A, lose faith in my ability to have relationships and marriage. So that was out the window at the ripe old age of 15. And it, my world, but it kind of jostled my everything a little bit. And so it was kind of strange to see your parents separate from each other, yet, they're still your dad, they're still your mom, and you still have the relationship you have with them. I mean, you get used to it eventually, but at first it was a little awkward. And by at first, I mean for the first 10 years, 5 years, 10 years, something like that. So, yeah. But Tim the Toolman Taylor and The Simpsons, either one of those will always remind me of those days. And for some reason, pizza. I guess we must have had pizza and Chinese food a lot. Takeout. That makes sense. In Living Color. Oh my God. That show, Sunday nights, we would all be talking about it on Monday, and we'd all be doing our impressions of the different characters. And yeah, God, that was such a great show. I was watching some of it on YouTube the other day. They had, you know what? Really, the reason I've been binging the Golden Girls so much is because I miss unapologetic, politically incorrect humor. I miss it. That to me was the American character, was that we could joke about the things, everything we're not allowed to joke about now, previous generations joked about because they knew that was the key to getting over it. Sammy Davis Jr. and the Rat Pack, that's a great example of joking about, mocking racism by making jokes about race. And people are like, Sammy, he's not that bad, And then suddenly people didn't have a problem with black people like they did in prior generations. And because they really saw them as people, which they are, by the way, in case you needed a reminder. And so that's what you used to do. Now you can't joke about anything. And what does that do? It makes you not see people as people. It makes you see them as these precious, delicate little porcelain dolls that you just really want to avoid. So it's like self-segregation. It's weird. There's Tom Canavan over there. Let's get out of the car and go over and say hi to him.